America D. Smith, who's running for U.S. Congress in North Carolina's 1st Congressional District. One of the things that came out recently, you and Senate candidate John Fetterman of Pennsylvania are considered two of the frontrunners to potentially flip, or in this case, win as a non-corporate candidate outright. But the topic that has become very passionately discussed in many circles is this idea of being considered a progressive versus a populist. And we have said time and time again that being a populist holds a lot more weight because the word progressive can be co-opted, as it has been by many people. When you're a populist, you really get to the heart of the issues that are of most importance. So if you could talk about the importance of distinguishing yourself on that front, as well as what the rural New Deal looks like and how you plan to fight and implement that as a congresswoman, would be great.
I have always been a candidate with a strong platform for economic populism. The 11 counties of the 19 in the 1st Congressional District that I represented became less economically distressed. We have our 100 counties divided in Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. I represented 11 different counties. All of them were Tier 1, but they became less economically distressed because as an engineer, I knew the importance of re-engineering those broken policies for economic development, re-engineering the policies in Raleigh to make them work just as well in a rural center as they do in the urban center. And so, like John Fetterman, I stand with farmers in the right to repair. Like John Fetterman, I'm standing against corporate monopolies. These corporate monopolies have come in and they've hollowed out Main Street, and we deserve more than a dollar store economy and a GoFundMe healthcare system. So my Rural New Deal is about his historic investments in Eastern North Carolina in the 1st Congressional District. It talks about universal broadband, making sure that we have the digital connectivity. This is a digital desert. There are so many students who were disenfranchised from their online learning during the pandemic because there was just no connectivity. It will help us grow our small businesses as well, raise the minimum wage, create good paying jobs, a Rural New Deal that prioritizes clean energy jobs, building the energy system of the future, making sure that we have wind and solar and green jobs throughout Eastern North Carolina. That is a way to build the 21st century workforce and create strong union jobs. That's what we need. It's universal health care. I am the lead in fighting for Medicaid expansion, whereas my Democratic opponent on the other side was the last Democrat to get on board. If we have to cajole and pressure Democrats to get on board with universal health care, then those are not true Democrats that we need. And so I am fighting for Medicare for all. I think that is the way to go to make sure that we can make sure everybody has that basic human right. And of course, I'm fighting for reproductive freedom. And all of that is a part of our Rural New Deal that we're going to deliver to create true structural change for the working families in this district.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize, especially when you come from like the coastal city, urban places that we do. People that live in rural places have been suffering in terms of reproductive freedom for years because even though something might be legal, if it's not available and affordable, then you might as well not have it. And a lot of rural places, you have to drive. I don't even know, like how in Texas, it was horrible. It was like hours to even get to the place that could do it. And so rural people are often hurt the most by these kinds of policies.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head, Jen, because of the lack of access. And our rural hospitals have been closing down because we didn't expand Medicaid. I was reading a story about a nurse today, and she was in school working hard. She was working her way through school, yet she didn't even have health care, and she's being trained to provide health care to other people. And she represents one of the 200,000 of the 500,000 adults in North Carolina who do not have health care. They fall into that gap where they make too much money for Medicaid and not enough money to be able to afford private insurance. And so that is why it's so important that we send someone who's had to navigate a broken healthcare system, who understands what's at stake, who's going to fight for working families, who's going to fight for healthcare, going to fight for good paying jobs, going to fight for the infrastructure that we need for businesses to be able to set up shop in Eastern North Carolina, to promote small businesses.
Yeah. And the other big issue we're always talking about here is labor. And that's one of those things that unifies all around the country, rural or urban, is labor. And I guess to some extent, like I sort of see that kind of is overlapping with farming to some extent. I mean, you're talking about working people that are working in an industry that doesn't get enough value and respect and is easily abused. But how do you see, like, what's going on with the labor uprising right now, like where you are?
Absolutely. We know that workers need good paying jobs. I have worked toward legislation that will provide 6 professions or short-term workforce training, and being able to do that to supply the workforce for some of these jobs that we don't even have majors for. And we're looking at the career and technology education that's needed for our students. That's why I was a firm champion of our cooperative and innovative high schools in North Carolina that allow students to graduate with a high school diploma in one hand and an associate's degree in the other, so that they can be halfway through college, or they can have a certification or a trade and they can go immediately to work and get a good paying job. That's why I fought the Republicans in North Carolina against a wind moratorium. And now we have the Amazon wind farm off of the coast off of Pasquotank County, and that has provided hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue to these struggling tier 1 high poverty counties. And so bringing in good paying jobs, those clean energy jobs pay good. There was one student who graduated from a solar technician certification program. She was able to quit her 3 part-time jobs and earn more money at $19 an hour so that she could spend more time raising her 3 children. What a beautiful story is that. And so those are the things that we have to take on, these corporate monopolies like big tech. And we look at how Amazon is strangling out these small mom and pops, and we need to create an equal playing field. That's why I'm so happy to earn the endorsement of Senator Elizabeth Warren for that economic populism and taking on these monopolies and making sure that we have we put anti-competitive policies in place so small businesses can compete in rural North Carolina.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.